Hi, today I would like to introduce you to my login system of the website. I would like to focus on three aspects. First of all, the main purpose of the login page is to make user login to the website, right? So this is the first thing, so that the user is able to log in. Second thing, what happens if the user doesn't exist in the database? So of course, from the UX point, he should to get appropriate information that the data is incorrect. And the third aspect I would like to focus on: what happens if the user exists in the database but wrote the wrong information, for example, password. So let's go to the login page. As we can see on the right console, we get an array from the database with the all users. Right now, let's write the information of the person which doesn't exist in the database. What happens? We get appropriate information. Please insert correct data. Later on the right, we can see the name of the username, the password, and empty array. Empty array because he doesn't exist in the database. Now let's find someone from the database, Sarah97, and let's write her password from the database. What happens in this situation? In this situation, we go to the login page when user is already logged in. And what's important here? Important here is that we save the information in local storage, such as first name, last name, and image, profile image of the person, and of course username. We can see we got those information over here in the local storage. Here user is able to log out. Here you are. And of course local storage is clean. Now I will explain you this code in JavaScript and HTML. So as we can see in HTML, already highlighted, we have a login form and of course button is here. And yeah, we define those elements by const in login.js, and later when we submit login form, so this form over here, right? Then what happens? First of all, in our console we get information about user, so what we wrote as a username and what we wrote as a password. So as we saw, right, on this example before, we got those information in console. Later, when we get those informations, what's important? We have to transfer them to the function, which we toggle over here, check login. And here we transfer those information, user and the password, which were written by the user. Here is the function. Yeah, with username and the password, we console log those data again to double check that the data is still the same. Does everything for sure works. And later we fetch our mock API users. Plus we add the element search, and what we search for username. That's the username which was written on the page is the same with the username which exists in the database, right? And here we console log the data when we fetch it. We console log this data in our console log. And here we have three opportunities. Opportunity number one, if data which we get from the database is equal to 0, right? Is equal to 0. Why is equal to 0? Obviously because the user doesn't exist in the database. and he wasn't found in Mocapi, right? He wasn't found there. Then we got this information, please insert correct data, and we console log wrong data. If the data provided by user, so username and the password, is equal to informations which are in the database, so data, username and the password with 0 because we loop through array, then we automatically set the information from the database to the local storage. Because as we saw, we use those informations, for example, on the login page for UI, when you can we can add profile image, where we can add the name of the user. So yeah. And of course, we transfer user in to the donation logged in HTML. So when you are already logged into this page. And the third option, when user is not, when user is existing in the database, but the data is not correct. So password, for example, is incorrect. Then we also have this opportunity written in JS. So that's all from me. Thank you very much. Yeah.